Hey there folks, this is Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince from Mustang Prince Orro Reports. And guess what? I'm doing another countdown video. Now, if you may recall, during summer 2014, I've counted down 10 of my favorite worlds to visit in the Kingdom Hearts games. But the worlds aren't the only memorable things in the games. Some say that the bosses are their favorite parts of the games. I mean, yeah, I know what you're thinking. You guys have seen a countdown video of Kingdom Hearts bosses before. Well, that may be true, but I've decided to do something completely different. You see, some of the countdown videos of Kingdom Hearts bosses only refer to the ones that are considered best or worst. But for this list, in order to celebrate Kingdom Hearts 3's release next year, I'll be counting down 13 of the Kingdom Hearts bosses that I think are the most challenging. Now, this list will be based on my personal experience with this franchise. So, if you guys disagree with some of the choices I picked out, then it's perfectly fine. We all have our own opinions. Also, I must warn you guys that there may be a tie in some of the spots, but also I need to note that bonus bosses are not going to be included here. And lastly, if any of these bosses appear in more than one game, then I'll try to do my best to compare them. So, for all you at home, grab your keyblades, wands, shields, and potions, for this is the top 13 challenging Kingdom Hearts bosses. Now, what better way to start off the list than with a Disney villain that's not really that challenging, but one that I consider to be very tricky.
I'll be jiggered. That works for me.
During Sora's first adventure in Halloween Town, Oogie sends Lock, Shock, and Barrel to steal a heart that Jack Skellington and Dr. Finkelstein have been working on in order to make the Heartless dance for the Halloween festival. So, as soon as Sora and Jack make their way to Oogie's torture chamber, Oogie swallows the heart and tries to summon an army of Heartless. However, he was only able to summon 2 Gargoyle Heartless, which makes Oogie really mad. Once the battle begins, you're immediately thrown onto the roulette wheel. However, one of the reasons why Oogie is at the bottom of the list is because he doesn't attack you physically, unless you count his exploding dice, but mostly he has machines like a circular buzzsaw, hanging sights, and slot machines with guns. The best way to get to Oogie's platform is to step on a glowing switch which causes a section of the pit to rise so you can attack him with your Keyblade. Or, if you like, you can use fire or thunder spells or summon Genie. But after you beat Oogie, he fuses with his manner to create a giant boss. In order to defeat it, you need to destroy 7 shadow globs that are scattered all over it. While the manor doesn't attack you too much with its flaming lanterns, it can be pretty hard when it comes to climbing it. But if you want to take out the lanterns, either use Dumbo or your blizzard spells. Next thing you know, in Kingdom Hearts 2, Maleficent manages to bring Oogie back, and has him kidnap Santa Claus like he did in his movie, and take over Santa's workshop. In this battle, Oogie controls the present processor from an unreachable lift. The battle takes place on 3 conveyor belts that slowly carry the party to spikes located at the end. You can travel to another conveyor belt by running to the portal at the front of each belt when it is blue. In order to get Oogie down, you must hit the presents that come out of the processor onto his lift, which can cause said lift to break. To me, while most of his attacks like exploding dice, a boxing glove, and presents that have Heartless aren't that big a deal, his most dangerous attack is when he summons bolts of lightning that can zap you if you're not careful. With the amount of boogie gifts that he gave all players, Oogie Boogie is one boss that you'll never forget anytime soon.
Huh? Huh?
While playing as Riku in Chain of Memories, most of the bosses he faces weren't really that hard. But not long after Sora defeats Marluxia, Riku comes face to face with Zexion.
The keeper of this castle, Marluxia, has just been felled by the Keyblade Master.
He gives Riku a Destiny Islands card, which takes him to the memories of his home island. There, Riku sees his friends, Waka, Selphie, and Tidus vanishing in front of him, even Kairi, because, according to Zexion, he threw away his friends, and says that Riku was the one who destroyed the islands. But after Riku defeated the dark side and faced an illusion of Sora with Naminé's help, Zexion unleashes his wrath on Riku. Now, since Zexion has the ability to use illusions using his lexicon, the thing that can make him challenging is his ability to steal Riku's cards using Cyclone Snatch in order to prepare for his more threatening techniques. When Zexion has collected enough cards, 3 copies of his book will appear in the corners of the battlefield, and 3 copies of Zexion will appear alongside him. Luckily, since Riku is in dark mode throughout the whole battle, the easy way to beat Zexion is to use dual breaks or use Dark Faraga, which makes mostly every battle in this game pretty easy. Zexion, maybe the master of illusions, but was still no match for Riku's darkness. Those who have seen the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie would probably know that anyone who removes a single piece of Aztec gold is cursed. However, in Kingdom Hearts 2, while fighting against Barbossa and the undead pirates, the best way to beat them is to lure them into the moonlight and use your magic spells on them. But during your second visit to Port Royal, Organization 13's Luxor summons a Heartless that's said to be born from the curse of the Aztec treasure.
Sora, Donald, Goofy, it's yours.
Now, your first battle with this Heartless is pretty easy due to it not attacking you too much, but after Luxor throws 4 medallions to his gambler nobodies, the Grim Reaper comes out of the ocean in its cursed form. When you fight it the second time, after getting back the medallions, the chest is placed in the center of the arena where the Grim Reaper is sucking up the gold from. However, there are a few ways to get the gold back. Like the undead pirates, you can use your magic spells like Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, or Reflect in order to make the medallions drop, and then use your draw abilities to pick them up. And then use reaction commands to put the gold back into the chest. Also, you better keep an eye on said chest, because there are times when the Grim Reaper can suck up the gold. Once that happens, you've got to hurry and use reaction commands to use its scythe in order to stop it. The Grim Reaper, a cursed Heartless that deserves the number 11 spot on this list. Now here's where we come to a boss that's considered to be challenging in Dream Drop distance. After you defeat the Hako Monkey in Traverse Town, you set off to 3 new sleeping worlds. Me and several other players like to start with La Cité des Cloches from the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and while Frollo is the main villain of that world, he's not who you get to fight. Instead, you get to fight a Dream Eater that's been doing Frollo's bidding.
A Dream Eater. And a big one. What?
Now, to me, this Dream Eater gets a lot of build-up in Riku's story due to the fact that it shoots fireballs at Riku while crossing the bridge, and it even injures Phoebus. While you're battling the Wargoyle on top of Notre Dame, the boss remains in the air for the duration of the battle. But luckily, Riku can circumvent this by leaping off the cathedral, thus allowing him to ride the updrafts created by the flames below. And this is way before Sora gets the glide ability in the game. Anyway, the Wargoyle utilizes many fire-based attacks, such as fireballs and fire-enhanced physical attacks, such as punches and tail swings, all of which can be blocked if you're on the ground, and it can be dodged easily with air slide. It can also fire large diamond-shaped bullets at Riku. This attack can be avoided either by using flow motion or by riding the updrafts in circles around it. The Wargoyle can also light itself aflame and charge at Riku in midair, which, again, can be blocked if you're on the ground, or dodge it by air sliding. If the attack connects, the Wargoyle will grab Riku with its tail and throw him back onto the cathedral, which can deal heavy damage. So basically, staying airborne and attacking him with Flighting Crescent after avoiding one of his attacks is a very good strategy. Also, equipping Riku with a wide variety of long-range commands is also very useful. The Wargoyle, an unholy Dream Eater that deserves a dose of hellfire. You know, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days had a lot of tough Heartless bosses. But in my opinion, there are 2 that I found to be the most challenging. Now let's start with the first Heartless in our tie. While Roxas is on missions at the Beast Castle, he sometimes witnesses the Beast swiping and slashing Heartless in order to protect Belle. But when the engine showed up on the bridge, it seems too much for the Beast to handle, and he ends up getting thrown into his own courtyard. Now, what makes the Infernal Engine challenging isn't only the archers on top of it, but because it's so huge, it takes up most of the bridge, which sometimes makes it hard to move around. However, the best way to take out the archers is to block the cannonballs that are being fired towards you. Also, the battering ram is the engine's weak point, which means you can land as many combos as you can. But be careful. While the ram is charging, you better move away quick in order to avoid being trampled. Now let's move on to the Ruler of the Sky. For some time, while on missions in Neverland, Roxas had been witnessing Captain Hook and Mr. Smeed dig for treasure, and whenever they find a chest, a Heartless always pop up from inside. Then, on day 301, we learned that Pete was responsible for tricking Hook into summoning Heartless, using the darkness in his greed. Now, the reason why the ruler of the sky can be challenging is that mostly it flies away from you. Plus, fighting while flying isn't really easy, since some keyblades are programmed with a downward thrust. So, it's probably best to equip a keyblade that works good in midair. However, when this Heartless does attack you, it can summon icicles from the ocean, shoot water bullets from its tail, shoot coins from its mouth like a machine gun, as well as flying maneuvers. However, after I beat this thing on my first time, I found it pretty funny when it crashes into the Jolly Roger while it releases a captive heart. The Infernal Engine and Ruler of the Sky. Two Heartless bosses that can be the most challenging in 358 over 2 days.
Yo, hey, how you doing, everybody? Yeah, got a minute? Hades, Lord of the Dead, nice to see you. Hey, guess what? I got a place for you.
Now, I gotta admit, if you guys have seen my Hercules blog, then you'd already know that Hades is one of my favorite Disney villains. Mostly due to James Woods' voice, which makes him sound very sarcastic and humorous. Anyway, let's talk about Hades' battles. Now, in Birth by Sleep, Hades is assisted by the Ice Titan. However, the only downside to this is that many of Hades' attacks are short-ranged, easy to dodge, and guardable, but they do deal major damage. For the most part of the battle, Hades will keep his distance from Aqua, ordering the Ice Titan to attack with its ice shards, but after the Titan is taken down, Hades will focus on Aqua again. But what makes the battle pretty easy is that you can use ice attacks on him. But in Kingdom Hearts, during the Hades Cup, while he fights Sora's team, Hades can be pretty tough, but pretty easy at the same time. Mostly what you want to do is use blizzard spells to do heavy damage to him, and block his fireball attacks with guard or arrow. But to me, his most dangerous attack is his temper flare, which summons a revolving wall of fire from his hands. In Kingdom Hearts 2, since your battle with Hades is in the underworld, Hades is no pushover. After Sora saves an unsent warrior named Orro from Hades' control, the evil Lord of the Dead gets to deal with Sora once again. Also, what makes this battle pretty awesome is that Hercules gets to help you out. The best way to deal damage to Hades is by using blizzard magic and slinging Herc's aura spheres whenever Hades is in flame mode. Also, if you like, you should keep Donald in your party and have Sora use Wisdom, Limit, and Master forms. Anyway, Hades can still be pretty tricky when he teleports around the stadium. And he has a new dangerous attack, and that is when he releases a huge ball of fire that spreads onto the arena. Luckily, this can be avoided when you have Hercules activate a shield. Hades, a Disney villain who burns up the number 8 spot on this list.
It's not over yet.
We got another organization member for this spot, and this is one that many players consider the most challenging in Kingdom Hearts 2. And no, it's not Demyx. even if that guy's a bit of a joke. Nope, the number 7 spot goes to Xaldin.
When Kingdom Hearts is ours, we can exist fully and completely.
Now, to be honest, Xaldin has been really busy ever since he went with Roxas to the Beast Castle in 358 over 2 days. During one of these missions, Xaldin witnessed the Beast's power and makes a plan to obtain the Beast's Heartless and Nobody. Xaldin's plans grew during many visits to the castle, and he learns of the strong connections between the Beast, being his rose, which was a symbol of his curse, and Belle, the only human in the castle whom was important to breaking the spell. Xaldin decided to use this to his advantage. In Kingdom Hearts 2, Xaldin has drained the Beast of his hope and kindness by convincing him that Belle is plotting against him, which, in my opinion, kind of sounds similar to what Maestro Forte does to the Beast during the Enchanted Christmas movie. Luckily, Sora, with Cogsworth's help, was able to bring the Beast back to his senses. Later, Xaldin steals the Beast's rose and plans to kidnap Belle. Fortunately, Belle punches Xaldin with her elbow and gets the rose back before Sora and the Beast can finally face Xaldin. During the fight, Xaldin uses 6 lances and uses wind attacks like an arrow shield. Xaldin can also move pretty fast, which can make him pretty dangerous. But his most dangerous attacks is when he goes into Berserk mode and when his lances take on the form of a dragon, which launches a huge blast of wind across the bridge. Fortunately, if Sora manages to get knocked out, King Mickey can be available to fight Xaldin and give Sora a second chance. Also, the Learn Reaction command, which turns your attack command into jump, can make this battle pretty easy. With a boss like Xaldin, he can really blow any player away. Now here's where we come to another Disney villain boss, and this is where things get really challenging in the first game.
You pathetic fools! I rule the seas now! The sea and all its spoils bow to my power!
Some folks out there may not know that next to Aladdin, Hercules, and Tarzan, The Little Mermaid is one of my favorite movies from the Disney Renaissance, even though Ursula's villain song did scare me when I was little. Anyway, let's talk about Ursula's battles. And no, we're not going to be going over her battles in Dream Drop Distance or Kingdom Hearts 2, since one is a tutorial battle and the other one is a minigame. Anyway, before you fight Ursula the first time, King Triton tells you to use your magic spells to make her cauldron backfire on her. However, this can be pretty hard since Flotsam and Jetsam are backing her up, and it can be more harder if your MP runs out and you're out of ethers. But her second battle is much more challenging due to how huge Ursula gets. And since she wields King Triton's trident during the battle, she deals non-elemental damage in the form of bolts of lightning. She can also blow bubbles and inhale water currents at Sora, and she can also bite him if he gets caught. Ursula can also open her mouth to use a lightning laser. The best way to attack Ursula is to use physical attacks on her head. And to make it easy to avoid damage, try to get behind her by swimming over her head and then coming back down. Also, if you like, you can use arrow and stop in order to make it easier to chain combos. Ursula, an evil sea witch that can zap anyone out of the water and steal your soul. Now here's where we come to a boss that's said to be the scariest ever. Now, picture this. You're Roxas on a mission to investigate Halloween Town. While there, Roxas discovered that something has been eating all the Heartless in town, and Tentaclaws have overrun the town. Then, as Roxas goes further into the graveyard, he meets this thing. To me, this thing looks like a giant plant with a huge coffin dangling below it. So, I guess you're probably asking, where did this thing come from? Well, apparently Lock, Shock, and Barrel picked up something and it grew into something huge. So basically, it's their fault. Anyway, the best way to beat this thing is to take out all the Tentaclaws, and that should give you at least a few seconds to weaken the Leech Grave while it's stunned. But once it regains consciousness, you better get away fast, otherwise its ghostly arms will swipe at you. Also, the Leech Grave has 3 other attacks you should watch out for, like shooting poison pollen, spewing out poison gas, and if a Tentaclaw catches you, it could chew you up and spit you out through its bulb, which might inflict heavy damage on you. Kinda reminds me of something the Audrey 2 might do. Also, here's another bit of advice you should use. Either you can use fire spells or block whenever a Tentaclaw tries to get you. And if your HP is in the alarm zone, you can also use your limit break to take it down too. Leech Grave, a heartless boss that makes Halloween Town really frightening. Although Axel is the toughest boss in Sora's story of Chain of Memories, he unfortunately is not on this list. Nope. In my opinion, the most challenging boss in Chain of Memories is Larxene.
Oh, you're so much fun to watch.
You know, I really do hate this character for being such a sadistic brat who likes to literally torture people, including Naminé. Pretty similar to Diamanda Hagen, who I still pray that she doesn't know I exist. Otherwise, heaven knows what she'll do to me. Anyway, Larxene not only is challenging in her 2 battles, but she can also be very tough as well. I mean, think about it. She has thunder-based attacks, she has knives as her weapons, and above all, she's wicked fast when it comes to slashing at you. Plus, Larxene's most dangerous attack is her Blade Storm, which is when she throws her knives to all areas of the battlefield, which then fires several beams of lightning in all directions. The beams can move pretty slowly, but if Sora gets caught, they can deal heavy damage and stun him. However, I managed to beat her by using attacks like Mega Flare, Sonic Blade, Lethal Frame, or Blitz, as well as using both Donald and Goofy for backup. Larxene, a sadistic girl who's very shocking.
No. No! I refuse to lose. To such a bunch of losers. I think I'm fainting? No, this isn't the way. I won't allow.
While Hades, Ursula, and Oogie Boogie were challenging Disney villains to fight throughout the franchise, the one Disney villain who I consider the most challenging is the mistress of all evil herself, and my childhood nightmare.
You poor, simple fools. You think you can defeat me? Me, the mistress of all evil!
Heck yeah, this evil sorceress just had to go on the list. Especially if you've seen my Maleficent blog. Plus, she has a really big part in the Kingdom Hearts games, and she's an awesome villain in Sleeping Beauty. Anyway, let's talk about her battles. Now, the only ones who get to fight her in Birth by Sleep are Ven and Aqua. Ven fights her after freeing Aurora's heart. Also, the three good fairies get to help by preventing Ven from falling under a sleep spell. But aside from that, Maleficent can conjure up lightning, and she can hit you with her staff and turn into a swirling cloud of dark energy. Later on, Aqua fights Maleficent in her dragon form after she and Prince Philip escape from the Forbidden Mountains. Now, to be honest, this fight isn't too hard, even though Maleficent can fly. What makes this fight pretty easy is not only her shot locks, but Philip can throw you up to her back. So, in other words, her battles in the first Kingdom Hearts are much more challenging. The first time you fight her in the Hollow Bastion Chapel, she attacks from a floating platform. She summons Defenders and Dark Ball Heartless to aid her, and she uses powerful magic attacks like lightning and meteors. However, you can use your gravity spell to make her platform go down, and you can cast arrow magic to deal more damage to her. But after she's defeated and retreats to the other room, Riku, possessed by Ansem, aka Xehanort's Heartless, uses a Keyblade to unlock her heart, which gives her the power to turn into a dragon again. In my opinion, this fight is a lot tougher than in Birth by Sleep. Heck, it's even tougher than Enchanted Memories or Coded. Because years ago, when I faced Maleficent as a dragon for my first time, she beat me up in about 5 seconds. Anyway, her attacks are very, very dangerous, like fire breath and fireballs. She can even bite you, swipe at you with her claws, stomp on you, which can cause huge shockwaves, and spin her body and have her tail hit you. Anyway, nowadays, to make this boss simple to get through, not only do I have Donald and the Beast in my group, but I can also use Dumbo since that's the only summon where no enemy can hurt you. Plus, I can even summon Tinkerbell in case I don't stay cured throughout this fight. However, what I could also do is get on Maleficent's back and fire a strike raid across her nose. Also, when Maleficent sends out fireballs, I can use my guard attack to hit them right back at her. And just when her HP is green, I can climb up to one of the thorny vines in the room and fly up to her nose and strike her down. Maleficent, the mistress of the number 3 spot on the list. You know, I really loved Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, but picking a boss from this game to go on this list wasn't really easy. I mean, they were really fun and all, but most of them were pretty easy. However, in the end, I chose to put Master Xehanort's apprentice, Vanitas.
Now that my body is about to perish, you and I will have to join together. The Keyblade will be forged!
Now, according to the story, not only was this mouse boy created from Ventus's darkness, but it was said that he was the source of all the unversed in the game. Plus, it's incredible that Vanitas looks like an evil version of Sora. Anyway, let's talk about his battles. And while Terra gets to fight him one time, Ven and Aqua get the most encounters with Vanitas. To me, Vanitas can be pretty fast at times, and most of his attacks are very dangerous, like fire, blizzard, thunder, as well as teleporting and striking you from above. He can even attack you from underground and summoning a storm of Keyblades. But during Ven's final battle with Vanitas, just when he's almost defeated, Vanitas becomes a temporary D-Link, which grants Ven attacks like Dark Spiral or Dark Splicer, and a shot lock called Dark Link. As the two beams of energy collide, you must rapidly tap a button or spin the analog stick to win the grapple. Once the gauge on the command menu is full, the combo finisher, Last Word, can be activated, which gives you the ability to finally defeat Vanitas. Vanitas, a dark vessel and an apocalyptic Keyblade wielder. Now before we move on to the most challenging Kingdom Hearts boss, I'd like to have an honorable mention. Now, for those who haven't seen Tron Legacy, Kevin Flynn tells his son Sam that Tron sacrificed himself to save him from Clue. But Kevin didn't know what actually happened to him up until he saw Tron as a repurposed program named Rinzler. In Dream Drop Distance, after Sora encounters Rinzler for the first time, Kevin tells Sora that Rinzler was Tron and told him what Clue did to him. After Sora and Korra find their way to Clue's throne ship, Sora finds himself at the Disc War Stadium, where Clue orders Rinzler to take him down. During the battle, Rinzler's attacks from his discs can deal heavy damage to you. Not only that, but Rinzler can also flip the gravity and reverse your controls. And when the gravity flips back to normal, Rinzler follows with a powerful jumping strike. When I first played through this on the 3DS, mostly what I did was block and counter rush. You can also use Reality Shift, which can temporarily cause Rinzler to be unable to attack you. After Sora defeats Rinzler, I found it pretty tear-jerking that he sacrificed himself to save Sora from Clue. And even though Rinzler is not officially on this list, he does make a very challenging boss who fights for the users. You know, like the past lists I made on my show, this list was very hard to put together, and it was very hard to choose which boss to put at number 1. Many other users have put bosses like Young Xehanort, Riku, Xion, Marluxia, Xemnas, or Dustflyer in their lists. But, in the end, I chose this one. Now admit it, you all saw this one coming. Especially if you've seen my blog of Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep and Fragmentary Passage. And as I said before, during that blog, it took me about 5 tries to beat this huge swarm of shadows. I mean, sure, Aqua gets to fight 2 demon towers, but those 2 were simple. But this thing, with the amount of HP it has, this boss is extremely challenging, especially for a final boss. Anyway, during phase 1 of the battle, the Demon Tide has 3 attacks: a Soaring Strike, a Shadow Trap, and an Assault from underground. Each of these can be avoided with a well-timed barrier and a quick counterblast. Also, you better keep an eye on this Heartless's eyes, because if they're red, they're in attack mode, and that can be pretty dangerous. So, mostly you should rely on your magic. Also, when Mickey jumps on the front part of the Demon Tide, it means that the Wayfinder situation command is available to use. But, when I played this game, I activated Wayfinder when the meter was almost empty, so until it was, I just used my magic spells to weaken it. And after using Wayfinder and trapping them in chains, I used my shot locks to deal more damage to it. But when phase 2 happens, that's when things get more dangerous. But when I got to that stage, the HP bar had only 1 green line left. So all I did was use my magic and my aerial combos until I finally beat it. Also, if it wasn't for the Boss Buster's advice, I wouldn't have been able to beat this enemy, and I highly recommend you viewers to go check out his videos if you're still having trouble. The Demon Tide, the #1 challenging Kingdom Hearts boss. Well, that concludes my top 13 challenging Kingdom Hearts bosses. Hopefully by the time Kingdom Hearts 3 gets released next year, there will be new bosses that fans will consider fun and challenging. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Be sure to join me again next time. Mustang Power!